Ah.
Episode 278. Hi, Casey. I'm ready, basically. Fold the club. I'm going to be completely irrational today. You're selling my favourite player, a player who brings me genuine joy and happiness. Fuck everything. Fuck you too. Yes, you specifically. Fuck's sake, Leeds.
Classic Leeds.
Oh, honest, right. We'll talk about the game in a minute. I am like a child today. The way that I said it to KC earlier was when I'll have been 10 or 11, Leeds signed Robbie Fowler. And I know it didn't work out, but I was so excited. I was like, fucking hell, that's us. This is like that, only the complete opposite. I feel like a 12-year-old kid, and the Leeds United have just cancelled Christmas. I'm so fucking down. It's actually, I'm disappointed in myself at how sad I am that Leeds are selling Giorginio Rutter.
It's beginning to look a lot like Ken Bates. Honestly, like you're a step away from Ethan Ampadu doing an actual LUTV interview and just saying, "How can you sell your best player and claim to be ambitious?"
Well,
because we've done it. This will be the third time in this window.
Yeah, I think this is just the one that broke me. Archie Gray going made me really sad because we were losing his best academy player and possibly one of the best academy players you're ever going to get through. But I was able to logically just say we had to sell someone for PSR deadline. This will stop a points deduction and stuff. I don't like it, but I can make that happen. Somerville, I was ready for the second the full time whistle went at Wembley. Right, Somerville's off. This one, I think it's because I really, really thought Giorgi was staying. He didn't in any way seem to be agitating for a move, which, to be fair, he still doesn't seem to be agitating for a move. But there it is again. And I'm not even going to necessarily, I mean, the auto special it is, but the fucking 49ers were very public about how influential they were in getting this deal done for Giorginio Rutter. So this one, I can't, it's not like Somerville where it was all auto. The clause in Gray's contract was 49ers. The clause in Rutter's is 49ers as well. And I really thought that he was fucking staying, and he's off. And he's not even off to, like, he's off to Brighton, who are a well-run, good club where he'll definitely improve and become a better footballer. I'm just fucking done today. It's brought me back. I have gone from a week ago being convinced Leeds would get promoted, like convinced, to right now, I don't think we make the playoffs this year.
Tell you what, this news is good for, though. It really buries the result last night.
True.
Really, really moved on from that quickly.
Yeah, it wasn't. I have no cohesive thoughts other than it's a bit wanting to just watch the world burn at the minute, to be honest. I am, in terms of trivial things, this is about as annoyed as I get about trivial things. I'm furious. Smudge, who like Smudge, he sends plenty of messages in. He said his goal scoring was poor, and his finishing is poor, and his decision making isn't great. But he brings me joy.
And the second most assists in the division last season.
Yeah, and he's the most creative player in the league, and for my money, he's the most talented player in the league as well. But I just forget. We'll talk about the game in a bit afterwards. Because we're on the tear. After the game, we're walking away, me and my dad, from Elland Road. And my dad just said there's no link between the back six and the forward players. There's just nothing. And that was where I put on our Twitter before this news broke, football without Rutter is nothing. And just moved on and went to bed. And I woke up, looked at my phone this morning, Rutter's being sold. Honestly, I wanted to call in sick to work and go back to bed. I was fucking done with the day and I'd been awake for 5 minutes. And I honestly, a lot of my confidence this season was based on that. I thought not only would Rutter be really good again, I thought he would be a bit better than he was last season. You know, probably just as creative, but with 5 more goals. And now, because there's no Rutter, I no longer can have all the confidence that Matteo Joseph is going to score goals because I don't know he's going to get the service. Same goes for all our forward players.
Joel Peru.
Yeah.
Basically the same.
I mean, I don't dislike Peru as much as a lot of people do, but I mean, he's not Giorgi, is he?
No, it's
Can I say, have you got a street lamp right outside your house?
No, it's because the sun's setting.
Oh, right, you've got like almost a beautiful little effect just to the side.
Yeah, well, it's either that or...
yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, we'll shut that for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so difficult just to deal with. There is nothing that can convince me that coming out of the playoff final defeat last season, Daniel Farke's plan was to start this season without his top scorer, his leading player with assists, his best young player, and a central midfielder who started nigh on every game for 3/4 of the season.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely, does it?
It's,
I mean, there is. I will mention that, like, on the 2nd of July, when Archie was sold, the exact line was, quote, "We understand supporters will be hugely disappointed to lose such a homegrown talent, a family name so synonymous with Leeds United. The move improves the club's chance to compete for automatic promotion by increasing our ability to build a competitive squad." Now, that was just a fucking lie. No, there's not. Oh, it was keeping cards close to your chest. Oh, during the transfer window, you don't want them to know where we are. No, that was a barefaced fucking lie.
But mate, they do all their business behind closed doors, like it should be done. and when I say all business, I mean a £4 million right back and a loanee from Bournemouth.
Oh, hey, don't forget, we did sign Alex Cairns.
That is unfair on Alex Cairns. You're right. Well, when we sell Melier next week, he'll become even more useful.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to buy Melier, but I mean, like, just treat it. I know it hasn't gone through yet, but Rutter's gone. Take out the goalkeepers. We have 16 senior players. Are you convinced that Nonto's going to be here come September?
I mean, if you're him, what are you sticking around for right now?
Yeah, he wanted to leave last season, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't want to now. As much as he was shit, and none of us particularly want him here, are you convinced Verber's going to be here in September?
No, but that I'm less bothered about. Admittedly, it's more just in terms of bodies at this point. But
if you've got 14 outfield players, I know that we're going to sign people, but it doesn't mean like a week ago we were saying you need like 3 players. You know, if you can get a left back and a centre mid and a good winger, and now you're looking at it and going, we need like fucking 6 or 7, and we've got 15 days.
The annoying thing for me was I openly said before the game as well that I was in no way bothered about the League Cup and could happily go out of it. I found the manner in which we went out last night very disappointing, but ultimately I can also look at it in the cold light of day and go, it's eight changes. There's players in there who haven't played a lot during pre-season. There's players in there who haven't played a lot since Marcelo Bielsa left, Joffy. You know, I can understand why that performance looked the way it did. But you can then go, look, I know defensively we can do better, and I know we have a much better front line than that. But Christ, you follow that up by selling probably at this point, your biggest asset. To, like, by the looks of things, we will make a bit of profit on it. But
yeah, well, because the add-ons didn't happen because we got relegated. It sounds like we actually paid 25 and we'll get 40. But I don't give a fuck about that. I like having Giorgi.
I just want some shiny new toys. And I don't mean this in the harshest way, but Joe Rothwell was not that shiny.
No, I mean,
Joe
I think it
Rothwell was a
says,
regular sticker in the book.
I think it says a lot about the performance last night. That, like, I reckon probably our best two of the starters were Joffy and Joe Rothwell, and neither of them were like particularly great. They were just probably the best of the starters. Like, we'll get into the game itself, and we'll talk about. I mean, there's not really loads to say about the goals. I mean, like, we started with Aronson playing a really good reverse ball to Firpo for a good chance that the keeper saves well. And in terms of good chances, that's basically it until Rutter hits the post in like the last couple of minutes. Main things to take away. Darlow, I don't think he's at fault, really. Everyone knows I'm not his biggest fan, but I can't blame him for the goals. I thought that the centre-back partnership of Rodon and Verba was so poor. Like, Verba just did not look comfortable at all. He looked poor on the ball. He played some really terrible passes. And Joe Rodon is doing a regular Andy O'Brien so far of the have him on loan, play really well, and then when you sign him, suddenly he's not there. Firpo wasn't great. Byram was probably the best of the back four, actually, but yeah, he wasn't amazing. He was just fine.
Yeah. Bless him. I think when I think it's for the third goal, when they're breaking, I'm watching Sam Byram running back. It was kind of like watching the latter days of Paddy Norbo. You were just looking, going, oh, he does not have the legs for this. Like, he was trying, bless him, with Sam Byram, but it did seem to be a bit of a struggle for him. And I know, again, he's also not played a lot of football this summer.
It must have been for the second goal, because the third goal he'd already been subbed.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it'll be the second. Yeah, apologies, because it's
fair enough. It's fair enough to mix up the second and third goal. Well, you could mix up three of their best chances and two of their three goals, because they were basically just the same. Let them have the ball in midfield with no pressure and play a through ball onto someone who's running and not being tracked. Yeah.
By the way, another classic Leeds slump buster last night. Dijksteel has not scored a goal in about 5 years.
Yeah. I wonder if they knew that, because it's the only way for me to explain the defending on it. Because he picks it up, 40 yards out and on the touchline. Gets away from Aronson, who Dijksteel is quick. Dijksteel is quick. Like, that's one thing that, like, getting outrun by him, I understand, but Aronson just like lets him go and doesn't do it. Firpo has a man that he starts to go with and then turns to Dijksteel, and what he does is not mark his man or make a challenge on Dijksteel. He just stands there in the middle, which shows him inside to what in real time I thought was Max Verba, because it was the left centre back, but it wasn't. It was Joe Rodon, who sort of spun around, didn't know where he was, and kept showing him inside towards the penalty spot, where the shot and Verba goes for a block. It's not the best attempt, but blocks get missed. Verba was awful, but in the end, this one went on him. And yet, it's a really, if a Leeds player scored it, I'd be saying, it's a really good run and a really good finish. But when it's your team, you look at the defending, and he has run from 40 yards out and on the touchline to the middle of the box and got shot away, and no one's made a fucking challenge. Like, you can't do that. It'd be an insult to children to say it was schoolboy defending.
No, it's so poor. It was just such a lackluster performance in that regard. Like I said, I think there's bits I can ignore because of the changes and the sheer fact that I do not give a toss about the League Cup. I don't care about the FA Cup. As I've said, I want us to play a 48-game season. That's the number of matches I want. Yeah. And given how poor we're looking, make sure we don't get the playoffs. Just don't. No, it's just easier. But but yeah, like you say, it was so frustrating to watch that it was little things like that. It's not as if it was. You couldn't go so far as to say it was a moment of magic from Dijksteel or anything like that. No, he just runs and keeps moving into space.
It's a good goal. We give him a load of space and he uses the space well. But like, it's such bad defending. I mean, like, I think it's between the first and second goal when Wöber turns himself, nearly falls over, then goes to clear it and does fall over. And they break, and Darlow makes, to be fair, a pretty good save. But then, like, it's another few minutes after that, Wöber steps up to the halfway line, fires a ball into the middle towards Bamford. But it's like, even if Bamford wins it, he's got nowhere to go. It's one of them that's a really bad pass. But I'm trying to not just pick Wöber because he's none of his favourites. Bamford's so weak. Like, he's really good at holding the ball up, and he gets knocked away like it's just, like he's Brendan Aronson, basically. And from winning that ball, one pass through the middle. And the guy even waits to let Joe Rodon get back, which was weird. And at the time, I thought that he squared up Rodon too easy, but having seen it back on telly, on this one, Rodon does get a little bit unlucky with the block because he actually gets something on it and he just deflects it into the corner. So Rodon on this one was unlucky. But Wöber's pass is terrible. Bamford just gives it. And there's no pressure on the ball. There's no counter press. There's 60 yards of space to run into. I mean, they then nearly scored the exact same goal, but instead of the left channel, it was the right channel, and Isaiah Jones chips it wide. And it would have been basically the same, just with a more difficult pass. And then for the third one, again, it's Jones and Dijksteel. It's a 1-2 down the left. Jones is quick, but no one's even trying to go with him. He has a shot, Ampadu blocks it, so he's a bit unlucky, and it falls straight to Coburn. And as much as that's Jayden Bogle's man, I don't actually think he has any time to react to it, having seen it back. But the left back and left centre back, and by this time, it's not even Wöber and Firpo. At this point, it's a free. So by this point, it's like basically Strauch that they've got away from. But the shape was all over the place. I mean, just before that goal, if you ever need the sign of a manager who knows his plan isn't worked and he doesn't have any clue what to do, he made 5 subs at the same time. Not only that, he made 5 subs at the same time with our goalkeeper down injured who needed a good couple of minutes of treatment. Everyone in the stand was just going, "Oh, go on, Darl, I'll have to go off injured." Because it would have been objectively hilarious to make 5 subs with your keeper laid on the floor and then just have to put one of them in goal.
Yeah. Ooh.
Out of the players that were there, I think Strauch might fancy it at that point. No, actually, do you know who would have? It'd have been Giorgi.
Imagine that for a final game.
Well, but anyway, it had come out that it hadn't come out to us, but they knew.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, credit to Giorgi in modern football. This shouldn't deserve credit. This should never deserve credit, but in modern football, it sort of does. That he still was like, "Oh no, I'll play," knowing that a bid had been accepted and all that. To be honest, most footballers now wouldn't, even though it should be a given. Everyone's paying you wages. But yeah, if Giorgi's last game for Leeds had been in goal, there'd be almost something quite apt about that.
I mean, I suppose the other side of the logic of Giorgi playing last night as well is, and I think we've discussed this before, the links for us to Jonathan Rowe and him withdrawing from the squad at the weekend.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't really look forward to having a player like that on our team.
No, although there's been a bit of mixed messages from that, where they're not going to pick him, but there was a lot of reporting at the Norwich end that he didn't actually pull out. They sort of kicked him out. Now, I don't know how true it is, but to be honest, we're not going to fucking get him anyway.
What, 8.5 million, mate? It's simple.
Yeah, he's a good player who's expensive. We're not going to fucking sign him.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of a lot of this as well, is that to replace someone that scored 20-odd goals in the league and replace someone that created what was it, 16 assists, something like
16 assists, and like, it wasn't many goals. I think it was only 7 goals, but yeah, like 16 assists.
that. Those players are fairly expensive, and Sammy Smodics is currently talking to Ipswich. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Smodics, and I have got into pure fuck it all mode now. So if we sign Smodics, I'd probably go, well, he played well last season, he scored a lot of goals, fuck it. But the truth is, he's not even a similar sort of player.
no.
Like, he doesn't actually suit us at all, but I've just given up fucking caring and just signed anyone at this point.
We've already got a striker who doesn't fit the system.
Yeah, like, but like, I fully expect him to go to Ipswich, where I don't know if it's been announced yet, but it was due to be announced soon, where along with Calvin Phillips.
I did see that.
Yeah, he's off to Ipswich, which basically is making me think, had we gone up, we were going to get him back. Well, I suppose McKenna's a good coach. He might be able to get him back to being himself.
That man's a Community Shield winner. Yeah, it's been a very rough. Not even 24 hours for Leeds. What was it? Between kickoff at 8 o'clock and it was about 12. It was about 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know, what you need now is a very big 2 weeks from us that I absolutely do not think he's going to be delivered on.
No.
As I said, it very much smacks of Robert Snodgrass just criticising his own club, going, "Well, what? How do you mean you're going to go for it this year? You just keep selling your best players."
Yeah, I mean, Farke used the word ambitious 25 times in his press conference today, and I mean, obviously, he's going to have to give diplomatic answers. I'm not particularly mad at Farke for that. But if he's saying, oh, the ownership is ambitious and we're ambitious and all that, and we're just looking at it going, every bit of evidence I see says the opposite. And I know that these are clauses, so you cannot turn the bids down. So it does involve some idiocy previously. But, like, the thing that really bugs me about it is that we've apparently, tried everything to talk Giorgi into staying, including offering him new terms and stuff. Okay, well, why don't we offer him in June?
Yeah, like the fact that because the talk is that that Giorgi's still willing to listen to Leeds. Now I don't think that that's going to change the situation, but I think there would.
Farke's words were he's said a tearful goodbye to everyone today.
Yeah, but
he's gone.
It does seem to sound like Leeds are trying to put something together to try and keep him, which would indicate that at least his agent is willing to listen to that conversation.
Yeah.
But again, like, why not make this offer right at the end of the season? Why not make this offer when he was absolutely tearing it up in January and February?
Yeah. Like, just, it would require a pay rise. Pay rise, and I'm not saying you wouldn't be able to get rid of this clause, but you might be able to get it from 40 to 50.
It's the Calvin Phillips situation, isn't it? We didn't go up the first year, so you then go, right, we are going to give you a massive pay rise, and if we don't go up this year, you can then leave for this amount.
Yeah, and you just have to do that again. They should have. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'd gone anyway, but they should have been trying to do that with Somerville. Now maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe we don't know. But the situation we're in now, where you looked at it and you were going, right, well, we all assumed Somerville was going, but you looked at the rest of that squad and thought, nah, the squad isn't deep enough, but the team looks excellent. And I'm looking at it now, and even the 11 doesn't look good enough to get automatic promotion, and the squad is a mile off.
Well, I mean, there is nothing and I know I know, especially in the Championship, you're going to struggle to get a player the level of Giorginio. I fully understand that.
You're just not going to get one.
But there is nothing in the squad for someone to step in and go, well, they can do that job. Maybe not as well, but they are the same sort of player.
Yeah.
You're then looking at, your three strikers are a striker who doesn't fit the system, a striker who has had a number of injury problems throughout the year,
and it has to be said, he looked terrible last night.
And a striker who's
started
one league game, which is fairly alarming.
Yeah.
You've got, and I'm not using this as a stick to beat him over the head with at this season. We've moved on from this, but your left winger is someone who wanted out last season, and the situation at the club has got worse since then. Dan James is a fantastic option at right midfield. Very happy with that, but can't knock that.
Ampadu grew off well as your main three for your two centre mid slots. I'm all right with.
Yeah,
but you need a fourth. And also, Ampadu is quite high up your centre-back depth chart as well, to use the Americanism.
Yeah, and then Verba is your cover for both left back and left central defence.
Yeah, and also doesn't really want to be here, and also doesn't look very good.
And you've got Sam Byram as your fill-in right back, who again you have injury concerns over.
Yeah.
And I don't seem to be convinced by two of our three keepers. Alex Cairns is looking quite good, though.
Yeah, the confidence level is basically through the floor for me at the minute. And I am aware that as a Leeds fan, I am being over dramatic. We cannot have got that much worse in that amount of time. And to an extent, that's true. But that's how much of my confidence was Giorginio Rutter based. I had him. He was the key to making this all work. You know, like how they always flash up that Daniel Farke at Norwich thing, and it's with Buendia and without Buendia. And the difference is unbelievable. That's what I thought Rutter was going to be this season. And now we are going to be without Rutter for 45 of our 46 games.
I've just come across the meme of Fred from Scooby-Doo pulling off the head of Parag Marate, and it's actually Ken Bates under a mask.
Yeah.
Man, it was old man Bates all along.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was saying we are going down with this too. Look, we're not going down. We're also not 80-1, sir.
But 15th mild friend.
No, it's because I am. My brain is just now in the full-on mode of we're going to end up selling Giorgi, and Verba's going to leave, and we're going to get two more loanees. And I have no idea who we're going to sign, because if you're John Rowe, for instance, and you're looking at Leeds selling all the best players, and your other options are like Marseille and Monaco, well, you're off to France, aren't you? I don't know who we're going to go piling in for. Like, maybe we try and chuck a load of money at Morgan Whittaker from Plymouth or something like that. But I don't even know who it would be. And I'm not familiar enough with, like, the German leagues and stuff to know who we should go for. So I'm just sort of waiting now. Because it's not just that we need to sign, like, a minimum of 5 players between now and the end of the window. Like, 3 of them have got to be pretty big signings. Yeah. We can't just be getting a number 10. We have to get a really good one. And I just don't have any faith in us doing it, unfortunately.
I mean, as I kind of look at, and you're probably looking at either, realistically, you're trying to look for a championship player that's going to fill this in, because I think at this point, your higher end Premier League players that are willing to that are going to go out on loan, most of them have already found clubs.
Obviously, we got a message this morning where someone immediately said Buonanotte from Brighton, but he's already gone to Leicester.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So in a world, and it's always the easiest thing in situations like this to you look back, you look to your buddies, you look to your blood,
you look to the click.
Yeah. And honestly, last night I was like, let's get Click back, and Luke Ayling seemed like a lovely lad still. Get him in. I'm sure if we give Stuart Dallas another year, he might be able to make a comeback. I don't know if after how last season went, if there's anything you can do with a Jack Clark, but I also don't know how he fits this team.
Well, I mean, I would think that if we are going to try and get someone to do Giorgi things, the closest we've got is Gnonto.
Yeah.
In terms of ability to beat players and get it in tight areas. If you could get Jack Clark, he plays left, Gnonto at 10. Like, we definitely have enough money to get Jack Clark. But if a bid got accepted, I just think a Premier League club would match that bid.
I find it interesting with Clark because I feel like he might be in the position price-wise that, like for us, I think he is affordable.
Well, I mean, we have, once this work deal goes through, we have made more money from sales than any club in the world in this window, including Villa, like shipping players off to Saudi and stuff.
Doesn't that sound like the first transfer window where Terry Venables was trying to convince himself that we were in a better position because we'd shipped off all these players?
I just had a look. Jack Clark has 2 years left on his deal.
Ooh, see. But it's sort of a case now of, right, who, you're looking at, it's got to be someone like a Rowe, someone like Jack Clark. It's got to be a top-end championship player, because the issue I have with the two players we've signed at the moment, and again, apologies to Alex Cairns, but if we go up, and I'm saying this before the season even started, I very much looked at Bogle and Rothwell and thought, well, those are two players who I don't know if I'd be looking at starting them in a Premier League team.
Yeah.
And that is very harsh to say before a ball was kicked. All right, Joe Rothwell, he didn't play much on the opening day. And Jane Bogle, let's say he didn't put his best foot forward on his first day in the job.
Nice, going forward, we're fine. It was the ones going backwards. I do have one name because he wasn't in the side against Luton. Manuel Benson from Burnley. He looked really good when they got promoted from the Championship, and it looks like he isn't their starter. So I think that's probably doable. But it's one of the only real names off the top of my head I can come up with.
Let's have a look, because I'm trying to figure out how well he would fit the system. It's like a Morgan Whittaker.
Yeah, he's one that makes sense because he's the standout player in a relatively poor side.
Yeah,
and that's the sort of thing that in theory you could get, and it does give you that option of someone who can play off both sides as well, in the same way Rowe does. There's also that Yasser Asprilla at Watford, but I think he's getting linked to a lot of Premier League moves and European top division moves, so I don't think that'd be doable either.
Yeah,
even though I do think he's a good player.
Yeah, just looking at Whittaker, 19 goals in 40 games last season in the league.
Yeah,
so it's a good return.
And we need number 10. Is Elias Chair out of jail yet?
Oh dear,
because he always looks really good whenever I see him.
Let's just. I'm just going to go for the old classic. Who's on a free on Transfermarkt?
You're going to remind me of that amazing Phil Hay tweet.
Yeah, some cunt on a free.
Yeah.
It is one of my favourite responses to nigh on anything. Is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just there's always someone on a free, whether they are any good at all or anything like that is fairly negligible in these situations. I've found.
Well, if we really do need someone to play number 10 and sort of link up all the play, we can always roll back the years to what we wanted years ago and sign John Swift from West Brom, who we play on Saturday. They started well. They won 3-1 away at QPR. Josh Madger with a hat-trick. So I've only seen the brief highlights of it. You know, Josh Madger, who is another one that we talked about us potentially getting back when he was on a free. But he didn't do a great deal last season, but obviously he's had a hell of a start. Their team doesn't look amazing, but it'll be really well coached because it's Corbran. And they always are. Alex Palmer in goal is all right, bouncing loads. Darnell Furlong is finally fit. He's a good right back. I always liked Semi Ajayi at centre back, and he's played with Kyle Bartley, who obviously we know all about. I don't know anything about Torbjorn Hegem at left back, but I'm assuming, even though I don't know, that he is Vegard Hegem's kid.
It would make a lot of sense.
Let's have a look. Right, I don't. I'm guessing that a West Brom fan has been at his Wikipedia. Torbjorn Lessica Hegem is a Norwegian footballer who plays as a defender for EFL Championship club West Bromwich Albion. Hegem won the Ballon d'Or 2024 and won a chocolate cake and a beret off Emmanuel Macron. Nice. So I'm guessing I am going to take a shot that he had a good game on the opening day.
Fair.
Yeah. So yeah, he was at left back. As they played well, I'm assuming, unless there's injuries, it'll be the full team. They played Jason Malumbi, hero of my CD Serta team on Football Manager, and Alex Mowat in middle of midfield. Tom Fellows on the right, John Swift at 10. Carlin Grant off the left, who, you know, if he gets chances, a good finisher. Josh Madger up top. They signed Devante Cole as a backup striker. He's more League One than Championship, so I'm not particularly worried about him. But they've also got Lewis Dobbin, who was one of the Everton kids along with Ellis Sims, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's quite good. But yeah, it's a good result for them on opening day. They look a strong side. 4-2-3-1, so tactically it won't be that different. And if you would have asked me what I think, we're always shit away at West Brom, aren't we?
Apart from the Premier League one.
Yeah, in the Premier. Yeah, but that had Big Sam tax. Like, you know, that doesn't even count as a football team that year. But like in the champion, like even like when we went up, we conceded 4 away at West Brom, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got beat there. We got beat there last season, didn't we? Around Christmas as well. That was part of that bad run. Yeah, if you'd have asked me a week and a half ago what I thought of this game, I'd probably quite fancy us, and now I really don't.
Misery.
Listen to the confidence in his voice, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what I'm predicting is just misery. Oh, don't worry, lads. Ollie Norwood's on a free. They got off to a decent start, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even look at what their League Cup result was because, to be honest, I don't care. But they won 3-1 away at QPR in the league. And QPR, it's not like the start of last season where they were awful. Since that Cifuentes came in, they've been pretty good. They actually got beat by Fleetwood in the Cup. But as I say, I'm not reading out into the Cup. And by the looks of this team, they made 11 changes.
Yeah, fair. Oh so, my God, is that?
That's Paddy McNair at centre back in the Cup. Didn't even know he was there.
Jack.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela's on a free.
Oh, I'll bring him in. He'll chip the keeper. That's Rutter. That's Rutter when he's 47 years old.
Oh, I love the free transfer list. It's so depressing, but it's always an interesting read. You know what? We're going to lose 2-0.
Right.
I've got nothing.
I am going to say that because we will have our proper defence back and they'll actually play well in this game, I am going to say a 1-1 draw. Probably a second goal of the season for Pascal Strauch to do it. I have had
a second penalty of the season.
No, this one, not even a header from a corner. A rebound from someone else's header at a corner. There's a weird bit of synergy in that Connie, Alex, and Benny have all sent me their predictions, and every single one of them has gone for a 2-1 win.
Mugs, the lot of them.
Yeah,
absolute mugs.
Yeah. In terms of the Leeds team, do we think it's just the same as the opening day, but Peru for Rutter?
Honestly, I reckon you just start with 10 men. I think you lay Giorginio
Send a message to the board.
I think you just lay your shirt down on the field and play around it.
And before the comments do it, yes, insert player here does that job perfectly. But is that what we reckon the same as against Portsmouth, but just with Peru at 10?
I don't really see, unless you're going to go with a wild swing and play Joffy. But you're not.
No, I mean, as I said, Joffy did better. Joffy did do better than most, but it wasn't because he had a standout game. He just had a 6 when everyone else was having a 4.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing to really take out from. I'm just hoping that we can find some way to link the passing the ball, because we played the ball around at the back, even by our standards, a lot and slowly against Middlesbrough. And there was just never a way out. Middlesbrough sat in sort of the 4-4-2 diamond. It was more 4-1-3-2 because they didn't really send up a 10. It was just 2 strikers and men in midfield. But they just sat in narrow midfield with an extra man and just didn't get baited. And we never tried anything to make him do it. We hit 2 balls over the top all game to stretch him. Never tried it. They kept it in crossfield balls that kept finding space. In the same way that Portsmouth kept doing it out to their left back and winning it every single time. It appears that we might have a bit of a weakness for that. And looking at their probable team, I have no idea if Tom Fellows is big or not. He sounds like a little 5'6" jinky winger, but Carlin Grant is pretty decent in the air. So I think they'll probably hit a lot of crossfield balls at Carlin Grant. And as Torbjorn Hegem is Norwegian, I'm going to assume that he is a beast of an athlete, so he will do it off set pieces. I'm not even going to look it up. Ali's message is saying, I think Bogle will get an assist for either Joseph or Perot. Bogle going forward, I have no qualms with. It was just the defensive work that scared me. Hopefully he can improve a bit. I'm not expecting him to be Paolo Maldini, but you have to be able to defend a bit.
Not to play defence for us, you don't.
No, true. Is there anything else that we need to add, KC? Other than we're sad as hell, and we are going to take it anymore.
Yeah, Liam Cooper is still on a free.
Wait, I said this to me.
It's getting to a point now where you're like, well,
no, I said this after the game. Is he him or Verber?
I like one of them.
Yeah.
But Let's have a look. Let's pluck out a random name for someone who you know.
We'll finish on the random name. Ali has just messaged in saying, I still think 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1 is the way to go. Spare centre back to cover whichever fullback is out of position. I've talked about a back three a lot and how I quite like it. He did, obviously, we tried it a little bit in pre-season, and after the subs, it looked like he was trying it again. I just don't think Farke's flexible enough tactically for it to happen. And we also would need another really quality midfielder, because if you're going to do that, you have to play Ampadu at centre back.
Yeah, but meanwhile...
So who are we signing, Casey? We're going to nick the square balls gimmick. Who are we signing?
I am plumping for Shea Ojo.
Shea Ojo?
Shea
As
Ojo.
in, wasn't he the, Liverpool academy?
Yep. Last seen at Cardiff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's who we're signing. That's our new number 10. It's him or J. Emmanuel Thomas.
Feed the jet.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that will do us for episode 278. Bye, Giorgi. I honestly, to the extent that it's ridiculous, I will miss you.
It really annoys you, having watched that last season, that we didn't play him at all in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, at the very least, I said that at the time, because I said, well, shit, anyway, at least we give the kid a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been Jack. See ya.
In case you have a good one.